Well, hello. My name is Dr. Perry Meyer, and I am the medical director of the Meyer Institute, a center of excellence dedicated to the treatment of the diabetic foot. And today is March 27th, 2020. We finished the first week of our COVID preparedness awareness plan. We did pretty well, and we are encouraged by what we've learned this week. Learned for ourselves how we practice wound care in this environment, but also a lot from our patients. There are quite a number of things that I wanted to talk about that we have found interesting and I think may help in running other people's practices. But in particular, when it comes to COVID and about the screening procedures, this was something that we found to be very challenging, because if you only go through the simple questions, then you're going to miss some background information. The person who's doing the screening needs to have a bit of training, a little bit of guidance from a clinician who is skilled in taking a history, and it's really quite like an interrogation. So you have to dig a little bit deeper than the surface. Some people say immediately, our first day we had someone that was here, long-term patient, we knew them well, and they said they've not been in contact with anybody from out of town, although their daughter had come back from Switzerland only about 4 days before, but she lived in their basement. Well, we knew that she lived in the basement, and when they said that she had arrived back, but they were not in contact with her, she was in their house, and that precluded them from coming to see us. So this is an example of where more information needs to be garnered from the patient outside of the straight list of questions that you would do for screening purposes. And that's something to think about as time moves forward, and our techniques and our practices just get better. And that's, I think, that was the whole point of all this. The other part of thing that we found this week was that signage is super important, but a lot of times if it's too much out there, nobody reads it. It's too much. If it's too much, they'll walk right by it. They'll see some big things saying stop, and they'll have hand washing, but they don't really read what's on the signage. So it would probably be in your best interest to distill down some of the salient points on the information, the signage that's been distributed by OMA and the College of Family Physicians, etc., and the government about COVID and its prevention, to distill those down into something that's big and simple and gets the point across about distancing, hand washing, and identifying yourself if you're symptomatic. That needs to be reinforced constantly. Patients forget it from the moment they come in. They hand sanitize, but by the time they're ready to leave, they've forgotten about all the precautions that you've talked about. You have to really reinforce it over and over and over again. I think that the part of keeping people away from each other, it's possible here, and we are policing it more and more carefully and more rigidly. We are certainly restricting numbers of patients to come back into the clinic, as in family members, and now we've after Wednesday, we've eliminated all family members, unless it's absolutely necessary, from coming back into the clinic with the patient. And out in the clinic, we've got a number down which gives us the right density of patients given spacing requirements. And if that density rises above a critical level, we start sending people back out into their cars. And we're going to work on a system of paging, either through texting or just giving the patient a phone call to come back in, much like you're in your restaurant and waiting for your table. The personal protective equipment, that also is an evolution. We got some more gowns and hand sanitizer. However, we will still be short if we are using it at the requested or suggested frequency. So we are being careful with those items. The face mask that we have been using is a bit cumbersome and it can't be cleaned. So I'm adapting a face shield, a plexiglass face shield that can flip down and up. It makes it a little bit easier to communicate. And when we have to do debridements, I can use the face shield more easily, and then it can be cleaned either with Cavi wipes or Cavicide, or now with that, plus we are using UVC lighting. And UVC lighting is very interesting. It's used commonly in farms, in farm water lines. They pass the water line through a UVC lighting system, and it kills all the bacteria and viruses. For the most part, it kills MRSA, C. diff, Hep B and C, HIV, and most viruses. It does kill COVID-19, and it is useful for cleaning hard surfaces. And so we are using that as well. We've been using that for a long time here, but we're now using it a little bit more frequently. I purchased some more, so we were able to use it on a more frequent basis on patients who are coming in and their items, as well as our gear that we're using. I think that for now, the thing that I'd like to leave you with today, and there's more to talk about. There's a lot that went on last week or this week, and too much to talk in one setting. But the one thing that I have to say that I was struck by was the level of anxiety amongst our patients. This is a time in my medical life that I've never seen, and we've been frightened about a lot of epidemics that have come and gone, situations where we were frightened for what might come tomorrow, such as when 9/11 hit. This is a different level, and our patients are really, really afraid of the unknown, and hearing stories coming out of China first, then Italy second, now New York City third. This is really hitting home, and our patients need our help to overcome, or at least talk about their anxiety. And in our patient population, those patients with wounds already are emotionally scarred from trying to deal with the wounds. They need even more help, and we should be redoubling our efforts to address those concerns when we are addressing the wounds themselves. So thanks you for listening. It's a challenging time, but boy, I think that we're up for the challenge. I know that we are here. My name is Dr. Perry Meyer, and I am the medical director of the Meyer Institute, a center of excellence dedicated to the treatment of the diabetic foot. But we're not talking about the diabetic foot exactly right now. We're talking about the treatment of our diabetic wound patients in the era of COVID-19. Thank you for listening. I hope this dialogue continues for a long time to come.